Hi. So I haven't made a video in quite some time. I think the last one I made was reacting to the Deadpool 3 news. I'm gonna lower this, jeez. It's very good to see you all. I really mean it every time I make a video and I say I want to bring you more videos, but I don't know. I think I've just been making up excuses and it's time to stop. So I thought today, let's make a video. But what's it gonna be about? Well, Avatar: The Way of Water has been out over a month now, and guess what? I still haven't seen it. So I'm finally going to see it tonight. Expectations are pretty just average. I don't really know what to think. I've heard people say good things, I've heard people say things. To give you some background, I watched the first Avatar back when it came out. I think it was literally New Year's Day of 2010. I was 10 at the time, and it was quite a roller coaster. I remember just thinking like, wow, I didn't even really want to see this in the first place, but now here I am watching it in a theater, 3D, my family. I think I was at a friend's birthday. It was a friend's birthday celebration too, so there was just a ton of people I knew there. And we all just walked into the theater like mind blown, like wow, that was an experience. So I enjoyed it. Everybody I watched it with enjoyed it, and yet I did not watch it since it first came out. I did not watch it all the way through. I've seen like little bits and pieces in that time, but I did not sit down and watch Avatar from start to finish since it first came out, way back in 2009, although I watched it first day of 2010. So when news of these Avatar sequels started making the rounds, I thought, well, that's cool, I guess. Yeah, sure, bring them on. James Cameron's writing and directing. So here we are now, 13 years later. The first of these, I think, 4 sequels are out. And at this point in time, it's almost at $2 billion, so I'm pretty sure those sequels are, like, for sure happening. There was some doubt whether there'd be any past 2 and 3, but I'm pretty sure now we're gonna get 4. And 5, and so on and so forth. But yes, I rewatched the first Avatar recently, and I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I just remember thinking like, yeah, this is what I remember. Of course, I watched it at home, and it just doesn't do it justice. Just watching Avatar in the theater, in 3D with that surround sound, like that's what we're going for. That's what we want. My only thought after watching Avatar again was, wow, I feel like there is a lot missing. Like the editing is just so fast. I just thought like, are there pieces missing? Like, everything's just going by pretty quick for a 2-hour, 40-minute movie. And then, yeah, sure enough, there is an extended edition out there that's like 30, 40 additional minutes of footage. So I still haven't seen that. I'd like to. I gotta find the DVD Blu-ray because it's not on Disney+. But either way, going into Avatar 2, with moderate expectations, the little things that I have heard about it do intrigue me. I like the idea that Jake is now a father, he's raising a family, so that's something he knew he has to deal with. I like how the villain from the first movie is back in this one in a Na'vi body. I don't know if that's a spoiler, but I do know that ahead of time, so I'm very interested in seeing what they do with that. That guy's probably really pissed off, and now that he's a Na'vi and Jake is a Na'vi, they're pretty evenly matched to fight, so I'm looking forward to that. I'm sure it's going to happen, though. I know Sigourney Weaver, who played Dr. Grace in the first movie, is playing Jake's daughter in this movie, so I'm not sure what that's about, but I'm sure there's some sort of tie in there. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna go watch the movie in a little while, and yeah, I'll get back to you when it's done. So until then, stay frosty. Alright, it is the next day. I've seen Avatar: The Way of Water in its entirety, all 3 hours and like 10 minutes of it. And overall, first impressions are good. Enjoyed it. Like the first one, this was just a great big screen theater experience. I feel like story-wise maybe not as good as the first Avatar, but very much on par with it. I think it was a good sequel to the first Avatar. I like how it builds upon the characters featured in the first one. I like the introductions of the new characters, specifically the children of Jake and Neytiri. And rewatching the first Avatar recently, that was another big thing I thought was I'd love to see more of Pandora, the world, because it's this big place, there's probably so much to it. And in this movie we get a whole new side of Pandora that we never saw before, which are the sea people. And it was really cool seeing the Sully family learn their ways, kind of like how in the first movie Jake was learning the ways of the Na'vi. Now all of his family are learning this new way of life, how to live among these sea people, and I really enjoyed that. I love a good, I like seeing characters, naturally go from not being good at something to pretty good at something. This video is going to contain light spoilers. I'll keep it as light as I possibly can, but one of my favorite scenes in the whole thing did involve the character of Quaritch. As I said in the beginning, he is back in this one. Now he's in a Navi body. And you know, I think he's a badass villain, but my thing with him in the first movie is that he is just such a caricature of a villain. He's just like, kill them just because, you know, I'm the bad guy. But my favorite scene, one of, if not my favorite scene, in The Way of Water, was the scene at the end where Neytiri's got Spider, who is actually the son of Quaritch, you know, at knife point. He's got Kiri, Jake's adopted daughter, and she starts cutting up Spider, and Quaritch like lets Kiri go, and he's basically like, stop, don't hurt him. So after 2 pretty long movies, this guy finally shows a bit of humanity. I'm looking forward to seeing where they take him in the sequels. Perhaps there is a redemption arc on the horizon for him. And I think it goes without saying that this movie is breathtaking to look at. I saw it in 3D, which I don't know if it was just me, but it was kind of hurting my eye. It was a little blurry, like, especially like the subtitles that would come up, they were pretty blurry. I'm not sure if that was just me. Maybe it was the glasses, could be my contacts, who knows. But visually, stunning movie. It definitely shows that James Cameron and the whole cast and crew really took their time with making it as great as they possibly could. The VFX department on this one, yeah, give them that Academy Award for Best Visual Effects, please. It looks leaps and bounds better than the first one, which also looked pretty good for 2009. And yeah, like I said, really liked the introduction of the new characters. I was unsure how I'd feel about them, but I like the Sully family. I like Kiri. She's basically Navi Jesus, but I'm looking forward to seeing where they take her in the sequels. I knew beforehand that Sigourney Weaver was playing her, so whenever she would speak in the movie, I was just thinking like, wow, that's, you know, a person who is in their, I believe they're 60s, sorry, playing a teenager. It's a little off-putting for me. But I saw it with my sister and she had no idea, and I said, hey, did you notice that? And she was like, no, so I guess it works. I like the dynamic between the Sully family kids, specifically the older brother and the younger brother. You know, there's that big scene at the end, that big heartbreaking scene, which, that's the one thing I won't spoil. Just go watch the movie and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Actually, what am I talking about? You've all probably seen it already. I think I'm the last person to see it on, like, planet Earth. But yeah, really good scene, really impactful. I like it when, like, a sad scene in a movie happens, and it's just made all the more impactful by the good writing and character development. So like I said, I saw this with my sister, and my brother actually saw it like when it came out like a month ago. And out of all 3 of us, somehow I was the only one who complained about the runtime. And like, I think for the most part, it earns that runtime. Every scene, save for like a couple, there were like a couple of little scenes that I feel like you could have taken out and it wouldn't have made much of a difference. For me, the big one in particular is when they kill the what are they, the Tulkhan, and they start like dissecting it for that golden liquid, whatever it's called, and it's like, yeah, this stops aging completely. And then they just never go back to it. I assume it's going to be like set up for one of the 6 sequels they got coming out. But I feel like that was something they could have shortened a bit, you know, save it for the sequels where it's likely to be important. But other than that, everything feels earned. You know, I don't feel like too much time is wasted. Could have shaved a few minutes off, but overall, it earns the runtime. That being said, I've seen a handful of movies that exceed 3 hours in my lifetime. And you got Avengers Endgame, you got Return of the King, but I don't know why. This one just felt like it was 3 hours. Endgame to me does not feel like 3 hours because there's just a lot going on in it. But this movie, I liked it, and I think it earns the runtime. That being said, it feels like 3 hours. So take that as you will. So I guess my big thing is just wondering where this series is going, because you know, we have 2 now. 3's coming out in a couple of years. I believe it's fully filmed. James Cameron said that he wanted to wait and see how this one performed before he went and did 4 and 5. This one's about to break even. I think it's about to cross 2 billion. So he said 4 and 5 are happening. And then I just read, like, this morning that he planned on doing 6 and 7 as well. So I think my big question is, where is all this going? I hope it doesn't become like a Fast and Furious style franchise where it just goes on and on. I like to imagine James Cameron does have an endpoint in mind. And listen, if you're gonna make like 6 or 7 of these, as long as you have a plan, which it sounds like James Cameron does, then by all means go ahead. There were 7 Harry Potter movies, 8 I guess, and all of them had their moments that made them worthy of inclusion in that series. So keep them coming. I'm interested in seeing where this franchise is gonna go. I could never have imagined watching that first Avatar in 2009 that it would be this big, huge blockbuster franchise. I think a lot of people thought it was just a one and done, but now it's like, this is almost like a modern day Star Wars. It's like you have this one movie that comes out, is insanely popular, was the highest grossing movie of all time, and now it's just this giant franchise for better or for worse. The next one's coming to us in December of 2024, so not gonna have to wait as long for the next one, which is good. I also read this morning a bunch of like leaked titles. It was an article from 2019 about supposedly leaked titles of all the Avatar sequels, and it actually did get the title for this one correct. It did say The Way of Water. So if that is correct, and unless James Cameron doesn't change it, the title of the next one is called Avatar: The Seed Bearer, which, what's that gonna be? Is it gonna be like the seed of Chucky? Are there children involved? More sullied children? More Quaritch children? I guess we'll find out. So yeah, all in all, enjoyed Avatar: The Way of Water. Very good movie experience. You know, not perfect by any means, but these are the type of movies that I go to the theater to watch. And I feel like that's just the best place to enjoy them. If they ever re-release that first Avatar, I know they've already released it so many times in the theaters, but I haven't seen it in theaters since 2010. But if they ever re-release it, hopefully the extended version, because I still haven't seen it, I will be first in line to check it out. But either way, I'm all about filmmakers fulfilling their passion, and I think James Cameron is great at world building. He's done a great job with these 2 Avatar movies so far. And yeah, f it, bring on the sequels. Alright guys, that's gonna do it for me today. So glad I got this video out. I know it's late, but trust me, I'm working on more videos. Kinda like this new setup. You know, you got my Switch right back there, my Pops right there. With all that being said, guys, thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more. Stay frosty, all you beautiful people, and have a great one.